This project is examining a work of art called Gore Vidal at Home. The piece is a black and white photograph taken by Leonard Macomb for Life magazine in April of 1960. The original caption stated, "American author and essayist Gore Vidal drinks tea as he sits in an armchair in his home Edgewater on the Hudson River, Barrytown, New York." Famed photographer Leonard Macomb was said to have had a portfolio of a sensitive observer, versatile, and above all, a craftsman of unsurpassed excellence. He took this photo for a piece in Time magazine called Author of Hit and a Candidate, which promoted Gore's run for Congress in 1960, a bid that was ultimately unsuccessful. The composition of the photograph highlights the eclectic sophistication and captivating nature of Gore Vidal in his personal tastes. Rather than simplifying the portrait or reducing the amount of objects in the background, as is often done in photographs, the photo contains a great deal of detail and other complex imagery, while still allowing Gore to be focal point of the photograph. This is done in part by balancing the subject, Gore Vidal, with the other objects in the frame. Gore sits relaxed in a rounded armchair surrounded by the comparatively hard, smooth textures of the house. Careful mixtures of vertical and horizontal lines add a magnificent balance, creating a sense of calm, strength, and structure. His gaze gives us a great sense of space relative to the position of the subject and adds to the viewers, intrigue of Gore's thought process as he appears to take a small sip of hot tea. The use of light and dark contrast is skillfully done as to immediately direct the eye toward Gore's face. The intricacies of the composition are as extensive and complex as were Gore Vidal's contribution to the literary, social, and political sphere. The majority of Gore's work was centered around what Noam Chomsky considered the primary work of all public intellectuals, which was to try to bring the truth about matters of human significance to an audience that can do something about it. Gore's incredible wit, exquisite use of language, and pugnacious spirit made him ideally suited for such a task, one he did immeasurably well. The strength and significance of the image is its capacity to shine a much-needed ray of light upon the still relevant ideas held and extrapolated upon by Vidal regarding social injustice, abuse of power, and gender inequality. As an essayist and public intellectual, Vidal continually exposed the corrosive nature of the class system and the ensuing deterioration of our liberties. In Gore Vidal's book, The Second American Revolution and Other Essays, he states, "The reason no one has yet been able to come up with a good word to describe homosexualists, someone known as gay, fag, queer, etc., is because he does not exist. The human race is divided into male and female. Many human beings enjoy sexual relations with their own sex. Many don't. Many respond to both. The plurality is the fact of our nature and not worth fretting about." Catherine Opie, and with great success, uses the Justin Bond portrait to explore social norms such as our ideas of personal identity, power, sexuality, and gender. Much of Vidal's life, and specifically his writing, speeches, and public debates against conservatism and religious apologists, were centered around the same issues. Views expressed through the Justin Bond portrait are challenges to the typical or normal way of thinking and behaving. The Gore Vidal portrait depicts the identical meaning though allegorically. In Empire of Self, A Life of Gore Vidal, he once again provides sharp insight to social and economic injustice, saying, "The genius of our ruling class is that it has kept a majority of the people from ever questioning the inequity of a system where most people drudge along, paying heavy taxes for which they get nothing in return." Dorothea Lange's The Migrant Mother was taken in 1930. Both the migrant mother and the iconography of Vidal are call for social reform. In both photographs, the subjects gaze thoughtfully to an unknown and unidentifiable object. In The Migrant Mother, the children's heads are nestled against the mother's back, and her face shows concern and exhaustion, even defeat. In Gore Vidal at home, his stare shows calm yet serious contemplation. While they are pictured in vastly different settings, both photos evoke an emotional response and a contemplation of the bondage and effects of the class system, a system that Vidal attacked with caustic wit and dedication. The salience of the photograph lies within the concepts and principles such as solidarity, equality, and social reform, for which Gore Vidal spent the majority of his life advocating. That these issues are worthy of discussion should be self-evident to any rational thinking person. The portrait hangs in my living room as a reminder to champion these ideas in everyday life. As Christopher Hitchens so brilliantly put it, never be a spectator of unfairness or stupidity. The grave will supply plenty of time for silence.